Tzu Chi volunteers help a blind care recipient seek medical help for diabetes. Students at Tai-Ping Elementary School, which was rebuilt by Tzu Chi, celebrate the school's 100th anniversary. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. Tzu Chi care recipient Liu Jing from Liaoning, China, is blind and suffers from diabetes. Some time ago, her blood sugar level suddenly shot up, so she called Tzu Chi volunteers for help. The volunteers immediately took her to the hospital. After recovering, Liu Jing will receive training this year to become a Tzu Chi volunteer, so she can pay the love forward.
Tzu Chi volunteers received a call for help from Liu Jing while they were heading to the Tzu Chi office. She had been vomiting all night. She even vomited out blood too. So the volunteers immediately make a detour and take her to the hospital.
Every night, the sisters stayed up and didn't sleep at all. If I rose up from the bed, they'd bring me a garbage bag and I could vomit in there. I was semi-conscious, but I knew what went on. I knew it.
Liu Jing suffers from diabetes, so the sharp rise in her blood sugar level made her vomit non-stop. And the pain also made her think about quitting the treatment.
We volunteers took shift, so whoever had free time could come over to be with her.
I had never taken care of a sick person, so I worried if I'd make any mistake. I thought that if Liu Jing was my family member, what kind of attitude I would have to care for her. I simply followed what other people did.
She was accompanied by brothers and sisters, and I prayed for her at home by chanting Amitabha every day.
Mrs. Liu is blind and cannot move around freely, so she is at ease knowing Tzu Chi volunteers are with her daughter. Liu Jing has left the hospital. She has vowed to receive training this year to become a Tzu Chi volunteer.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Chile started to support a single mother, Evelyn, who's bringing up 3 children alone. Evelyn was unable to pay her rent for 2 years, and she faced being kicked out by her landlord. Volunteers gave her monthly subsidies to solve her problem.
What comes to the eye is a helpless single mother with her 3 children.
Children are all right, but I have depression because of the difficult situation now, but I've come to the doctor and took medicines.
Last September, Chile's Tzu Chi volunteers first came to visit them and found that this family has been behind the rain for 2 years and the youngest child was just born. Evelyn survived on selling her personal items and she made $3 at most every day, making her living condition worsen.
Hopefully you can plan your future well and don't let us keep worrying about you.
Tzu Chi provided them $300 every month to pay for the rent and basic living expenses and ensures that her children can continue their educations. Have your past pass, and the person that changes the most is the mother.
I found a temporary part-time job at a pastry shop I used to work at. The owner is willing to let me bring my children to work every Monday, and other times I sell items at the second-hand market. My 15-year-old son will do part-time job during the summer break to help the family.
Although the short-term funding has ended, but the companionship of love will not disappear.
Remember your great motherly love and keep on going with that strength. You can definitely overcome all the difficulties, and don't forget we will always be here with you.
In Jakarta, Indonesia, this couple has set a good example for their 3 children to follow as they educate children to respect the elderly. In addition to doing volunteer work in Tzu Chi, the parents also use holidays bring their children to nursing homes to care for the seniors. They not only bring joy to the seniors, they've also created a close tie with their children.
This family of 5 uses holidays coming to the nursing home to volunteer. 3 children go along with their parents to learn to care for the elderly.
I can carry out what I've learned here on my 2 grandmothers at home. This is a way to learn from each other.
Some people do not have family members. I want to do what I can to help them and make them happier.
They can learn a lot by participating in different activities. They can also learn how to take good care of their parents.
They talk and sing as if they were old friends. Tzu Chi volunteers have been carrying this nursing home for more than 2 years. The seniors always look forward to the volunteers' visit.
Whenever they come to visit us, we all feel very happy and excited. Everybody may sing, pray, and give a sign language performance together.
As most elderly people have mobility problems, volunteers bring joy to them and thank them for giving volunteers an opportunity to serve them.
In Yunlin County, there's a banquet chef, Ding Meiling, who is very passionate and dedicated to her job. Her father passed on a cooking job to her and left her with the legacy of helping the less fortunate people. Therefore, she has been providing year-end feasts for the seniors at nursing homes for several years.
The seniors feel like they are having a family reunion. For the seniors, this comforted them.
希望我爸在天上看到我是高兴的。
得5粒至6粒安尼啊，也袂嘞啦，也袂嘞，无要紧啦，这36份，这27道尔。
Being a busy banquet chef, Ding Meiling spends most of her time in front of the stove, frying, mixing, and steaming food.
当一头变头的安尼，一条一步一步来安尼，而且互管家做了歹，拢甲做条条。嘿啊。
My father passed on the job to me, and I want to do a good job. I need to cook the soup for 3 hours to bring out the flavor.
She's dedicated to make every dish delicious. Sometimes she gets exhausted.
My back and waist feel sore from moving things. In addition, I feel uptight and exhausted. I've also suffered from insomnia. I think I'm too passionate about this job, and I may be too dedicated.
又太有感情了。
Her father not only left her with the pots and cooking tools, he has also passed on the legacy of helping those in need.
My father insisted on cooking for the bereaved families and those who are impoverished.
Influenced by her father, Ding Meiling has been providing year-end feasts for the underprivileged for 6 years.
Whenever she tells me about the free cooking opportunity, we are very happy. At least the seniors will feel happy.
It is like doing the bamboo dance. It is hard to take the first step, but when someone helps you take the first step, you'd feel very touched by doing good deeds.
In the past year, her marriage and health have not been well, and she almost broke down. After much effort, she has stood up again.
希望我爸在天上看到我是高兴的。
Her father's love has been supporting her.
我的爸爸永远都。
My father is always in my heart.
Following the footsteps of her father, Ding Meiling wants to continue to give of herself, warming everyone's stomach and heart. In Taiwan, according to the statistics of Minister of Health and Welfare, about 50% of children with developmental delays do not receive treatment in time. Fortunately, Eden Social Welfare Foundation provides rehabilitation courses to help children with developmental delays. With the support of his teacher, 6-year-old Wei Wei takes every step with effort to hand the flower to his mother.
When he was an infant, we felt that he was a healthy baby. However, when he was 4 months old, we discovered that he could not lift up his head and his whole body was soft, just like a baby.
When Wei Wei was 8 months old, he was diagnosed with multiple developmental delays. Teacher Lin, who specialized in treating such children, has been helping him for more than 3 years.
We're sort of like his mother, but we're more demanding than mothers. Sometimes mothers would not demand as much, feeling for the children, but we want the children to do well, so we demand more.
In the beginning, he cried, but after the teacher trained him for a while and he has learned to find his balance, he stopped crying. He would stand against the wall.
In Taiwan, 1 in every 15 children have developmental delays. Half of them do not receive treatment in time.
Between 0 to 6 years old, or even between 0 to 3 years old, is the important time period. Many tests can be done during this period of time.
Performing artist Janet has also shown her support for early intervention to help children with developmental delays. Alishan is the only area producing Japanese horseradish, which has become an economic lifeline for farmers in the area. Unfortunately, this work has been ruining the soil and water in the area. The horseradish gardens will soon pass into history.
For ease of transportation, most of the horseradish farms in Alishan are near the road and are blocked off to the public.
When the Japanese came here, they began planting horseradish, which still continues until the present time.
20 hectares of horseradish fields are all concentrated here.
At present, in my forest division, there are just 6 people.
This is the pesticide they apply. It kills fungus and bacteria.
This is used for horseradish fields. They're still planting and building and cultivating these fields.
Horseradish can be inconspicuous as the roots still grow underneath the ground.
You only eat this section. Yes, the whole piece can be eaten if it is not rotten. You just clean it and eat it.
This small piece has a wholesale price of about $6, which is about the equivalent of 2 lunch boxes, as it's a highly profitable vegetable.
From 1990 to 1996, this was the best period for horseradish growers, as the price per kilogram was about $20.
The Alishan range stretches for 250 kilometers to Nantou Jiayi to Kaohsiung. The flourishing horseradish economy stealthily spread in these state-owned forests. Now that these fields have been reclaimed, many of the businesses selling horseradish will be affected.
This policy is not something we can decide, as the Forestry Bureau said that at the end of 2017, we can't plant anymore.
20 years ago, before the horseradish ban was implemented, almost everyone planted this crop. The value of annual output per hectare is $36,000. Most was exported to Japan, earning foreign currency.
This was planted by the Japanese. Early on in Alishan, they ate horseradish, and wherever there was a factory dorm, they would plant it. After the Japanese left, some thought that they could continue to grow it.
In 1976, they began calculating horseradish gardens, which covered 17.61 hectares. The government said it should stop, but it didn't affect the farming. In 1983, the Provincial Highway 18 opened, and more convenient transportation led it to spread to some 73 hectares in 1986, which is 4 times the increase in less than 10 years. In 1989, it increased to 80 hectares, leading the Jiayi Forestry Bureau to stop all new planting or face legal issues. However, it continued to surge threefold in 1992 to reach a historical peak of 270 hectares, forcing the Forestry Bureau to impose stricter laws and regulations. Farmers couldn't prune branches of trees in the forest nor expand their farms. Also, a buffer space was implemented as proper forestry management issues were put into effect. In 2009, Typhoon Morakot brought devastating rains to Alishan. Above the large parking lot at Erwanping, many horseradish farms collapsed. Environmental groups called on the government to consider soil and water conservation as a top priority. The Forestry Bureau then went to reclaim these farms to restore the mountain.
At 2万坪, some 130 hectares saw about a meter of subsidence, as they found there were horseradish farms at the top. This showed they really had to handle this problem.
Of course, we encountered a lot of resistance. Local politicians even got involved, as we needed two-way communication.
There is still some wasabi growing below. There is no way to eliminate it.
The mountain is large, and horseradish may be just one problem associated with state-owned forests. There are many interests and parties involved, with the lack of manpower being one of the biggest problems.
An average of more than 2,300 hectares on this Alishan side need to be patrolled by one person. In my area, it is more concentrated, so I have less to inspect.
In mountainous regions, I haven't seen a country with such a serious problem. Taiwan is the most serious.
In 2018, horseradish cultivation passed into history, as the Forestry Bureau had one less problem.
Many people don't know that this vast field was once planted with horseradish. Now that the Forestry Bureau is starting recovering efforts by planting saplings and other vegetation.
Small saplings carry the dream of recovering this forest. This horseradish field was abandoned for 8 months. The ecology is gradually recovering, but the forest has been changed. It's not just this large area of grassland, but also to the side we see trees with cables attached and machines and irrigation pipes that have been abandoned. There's also agricultural waste in the cedar tree that was cut. Who knows how long it will take to regrow? Policy changes will impact other industries, and how will the community respond? In our next report, we'll see how all of these conflicting interests try to find a common solution.
After the 9/1 earthquake destroyed the school buildings of Tai-Ping Elementary School in Taichung, Tzu Chi Foundation stepped in to help rebuild the school. As this year marks the 100th anniversary of the school, all the teachers and students, along with Tzu Chi volunteers, planted pine trees to celebrate the occasion.
Each person uses the shovel to earth up the roots of the pine tree. Tai-Ping Elementary School is 100 years old. Planting pine trees on the eve of Arbor Day has a special meaning.
I think pine trees serve as a symbolic representation of perseverance, so we expect that our children can learn the spirit of pine trees.
During the heyday of the Tai-Ping Elementary School, there were as many as 109 classes and more than 6,000 people. After the 9/21 earthquake destroyed all the school buildings, the school stood up again in ruins.
The earthquake destroyed school buildings, but it didn't prevent all the teachers and students from embracing hope.
Tzu Chi Foundation helped rebuild the school, and until now, it has maintained a good interaction with the school. DaAi mothers tell stories in the morning to inspire the children's compassion.
Tai-Ping Elementary School is my alma mater, which is located in central Tai-Ping District. We hope through the storytelling of Jingse aphorisms, we can pass on love and compassion to the children, allowing them to have splendid achievements in the future.
Tzu Chi volunteers plant the trees together to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the school, witnessing the school's educational mission.
In our next report, we'll meet an elderly couple who has been doing recycling for 7 years. They must pick up recyclables from 20 points, but they do not complain about it. They had met stores who misunderstood Tzu Chi, but they explained to the store owners that Tzu Chi is indeed helping the underprivileged, thus earning their trust.
In the early morning, when the street lights are still on, 76-year-old Wen Jinzao and her husband, 90-year-old Xu Kuishen, start their day by picking up recyclables with their cart. There have met stores who question Tzu Chi's integrity, but they use their daughter's example to dissolve the misunderstanding.
We told the owner our daughter lived a tough life in Keelung. When I told Tzu Chi about her, they visited her and helped her, so we shouldn't slander Tzu Chi all the time. After hearing it, the owner and his wife told us that they were willing to give their recyclables to us.
The two of them have been collecting recyclables for 7 years. They often fill the recycling station in Shulin, New Taipei City to the utmost capacity.
My daughter told me, I don't come back often. If I do, you do recycling until 2 p.m. But if I don't come, you'll be out there all day long and not coming home for lunch.
When they return home, they don't rest any second. Instead, they head out again to pick up more recyclables.
If we do recycling, we can reduce a lot of garbage and the air becomes fresher. It's good for everything. We can also grow old in good health. It's better this way.
The couple's zeal and determination in doing recycling has touched many people who are willing to give their recyclables to them. This has started a cycle of goodness.
A special education teacher in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, purchased a cotton candy machine to host a cotton candy making class for special education students in different schools. Students enjoy it greatly and they love to share it with others.
Swirl and swirl, the cotton candy is growing bigger as the students are smiling more cheerfully. The retired teacher Ding Yongfu brought his cotton candy machine to visit Minzhu Junior High School, attracting students from both the normal and special education classes to come.
It's very touching and everyone is welcome to attend this activity.
This is his selfless devotion because of this machine and materials are all from him. I hope through different activities, everyone can laugh together and everyone can feel this joy.
Making cotton candies have become a sweet memory for every children. Teacher Zen has called this activity a swirling love for the special education students to participate in it.
Making cotton candy is a successful activity because there are no way you can fail it, so students will feel very accomplished. This allows them to share with others and show their appreciation, as well as a chance to perform their abilities so that other children can get to know them better.
Even if he's retired, but he does not take a rest. Once a week, he brings the machine and experiences to a school to continue his love and care to these children that need special attentions and educations.
In Chinatown of Las Vegas, Tzu Chi volunteers participate in the Lunar New Year Fair every year, sharing Tzu Chi's philosophies with the public. This year, Tzu Chi Las Vegas Liaison Office has invited medical volunteers to hold a bone marrow drive for the first time. At the fair held in Chinatown, Las Vegas, a lively and loud lion dance was performed to celebrate the Lunar New Year. Joining the fair every year, Tzu Chi Las Vegas Liaison Office has invited its medical volunteers to host a marrow donor registry drive for the first time.
This is a very simple thing we can do to help people save lives, so I figured why not do it.
It takes people just 5 minutes to sign up on the donor registry and do oral mucosa sampling. With compassion and love, the potential donors are giving patients a second chance at life. In Medan of Indonesia, the headquarters for mobile police has asked Tzu Chi Medan branch for help for the second time. In response, Tzu Chi helped repair 4 houses that were damaged in a fire. We'll leave you with these images at the end of our program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.